On February 20, 1938, People's Commissar of Internal Affairs, Nikolai Yezhov, signed an order on the reorganization of Special Technical Services. The document, classified as top secret, laid the foundation for the operation of the facility known in narrow circles as Laboratory X. The physical address of the unit became Varsonofevsky Lane, House 11. The building was located in close proximity to the main complex of buildings on Lubyanka. This ensured minimal time for the transportation of documentation and special contingents. The laboratory's technical equipment included 5 isolated chambers, equipped with forced ventilation systems and optical observation devices. The department's Shtatnoye Raspisanye, staffing table, numbered 24 technical and operational personnel. The leadership of this structure was entrusted to Grigory Mairanovsky. He held the rank of Colonel of the Medical Service and a Doctor of Medical Sciences degree. Mayranovsky's professional biography began in Batumi in 1903. His educational cycle included studies at the Tiflis and First Moscow Medical Institutes. By the mid-1930s, he specialized in biochemistry and toxicology. The main task of his unit was to develop substances that leave no traces during forensic autopsy. From the perspective of operational logistics, such preparations were critically important for conducting liquidation measures in foreign countries and domestically. By the end of the 1930s, the military technical readiness of Soviet special services required the implementation of new methods for eliminating political opponents. The economic potential of Laboratory X was provided for by a separate line in the budget of the 7th Department of the Main Directorate of State Security. Supplies of chemical reagents were carried out through closed warehouses of the People's Commissariat of Chemical Industry. Supply lines were completely isolated from civilian institutions. The technical assignment received by Mayranovsky required the creation of poisons that acted with a delay of 10 minutes to several hours. This allowed the operational group to leave the scene of the assignment before the fact of the object's demise was discovered. In the period from 1938 to 1940, systemic tests of the alkaloid ricin and aconitine derivatives were conducted at the facility. Each test was recorded in logbooks under letters. Individuals sentenced to the highest measure of social protection were used as control groups. The process of administering substances varied from oral administration to injections and the use of camouflaged sprayers. The first large-scale application of the laboratory's developments was recorded in February 1938. The target was Abram Slutsky, who headed foreign intelligence. The procedure was carried out in the office of Deputy People's Commissar Mikhail Frenovsky. The technical report indicates the use of an injection at the moment of brief restriction of the target's mobility. In the official conclusion, the cause of death was stated as a heart attack. Here, the first serious discrepancy in archival sources is found. The medical act indicates natural cardiac arrest. However, chemical analysis protocols of blood serum, dated the same day, contain data on a high concentration of toxins incompatible with physiological norms. This inconsistency in operation planning indicates a violation of the secrecy protocol at the reporting stage. The command failed to ensure data synchronization between the medical department and the operational administration. In 1940, Laboratory X was transferred under the command of Pavel Sudoplatov, head of the Special Tasks Bureau. This changed the scale of operations. The main focus shifted to the development of small-sized technical means for delivering poisons. Firing fountain pens, umbrellas with needles, and portable aerosol cans were created. An hourly reconstruction of the laboratory's work during this period shows a round-the-clock production cycle. On September 9, 1941, during the evacuation of some government institutions, Mayranovsky received an order to expand the nomenclature of substances. Research began on curare-like drugs that block respiratory muscles. The personnel density per square meter of laboratory space reached a critical point. One specialist had 3 research stands. This led to violations of safety regulations and cases of involuntary incapacitation of employees. A critical audit of the command's decisions reveals a systemic error in the topography of secret object placement. The location of Laboratory X in the center of Moscow created risks of deconspiracy during the transportation of biomaterials. According to the internal service regulations of that time, high-risk objects should have been located at a distance of at least 10 kilometers from the city limits. The disregard of this requirement was explained by the need for operational communication with the leadership of the People's Commissariat. In 1947, an operation to eliminate Bishop Theodore Romja followed. A group of perpetrators led by Pavel Sudoplatov arrived in Mukachevo. Mayranovsky personally prepared a drug based on curare poison. The substance was delivered via an injection, disguised as a medical procedure in a hospital. Documentary evidence confirms that Romja ceased to function within 30 minutes after administration. An analysis of the laboratory's throughput shows that by 1948, facility number 11 had transitioned to industrial synthesis of drug K2. This substance caused vasoconstriction and subsequent paralysis of the flight control centers of consciousness. However, a second major planning error was recorded here. Supply reports for 48 indicated a deficit of precursors for creating antidotes. This made the personnel's work extremely risky. Archival data from the Ministry of State Security contain information about 3 laboratory assistants losing their ability to work during an incident in December of the same year. The cause was the depressurization of the fume hood. The absence of backup filtration systems is a direct violation of the technical regulations for operating first-category hazardous chemical facilities. Communication between Mayranovsky's units and the technical departments of the MGB was carried out through a courier service using ciphers. Liquidation orders came personally from Lavrenti Beria or his deputies. In 1950, the laboratory began developing a method of silent influence through household items. Coatings for telephone receivers and doorknobs were tested. Coordination between chemists and operatives was disrupted due to excessive secrecy. In a number of cases, liquidation teams did not receive full instructions on handling poisoned objects. This led to a decrease in the effectiveness of task execution. The statistics of successful operations during this period amount to 72% of the total number of planned activities. In December 1951, Mayranovsky's career was interrupted by his arrest. He was accused of planning sabotage against the party leadership. The investigation lasted 2 years. During interrogations, Mayranovsky described in detail the technical parameters of the poisons used. He pointed out the need to modernize the laboratory's material and technical base. In 1953, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was held in Vladimir Central Prison. There, Mayranovsky continued to engage in scientific activities under restrictions. He prepared several works on toxicology, which were transferred to the Special Services. The third systemic planning error in the activities of Laboratory X is found in the post-war reorganization period. According to rear support documents for 1946, the volumes of active substance production exceeded the actual needs of operational departments by 5 times. Excesses were stored in unprepared warehouses, which created a threat of an ecological catastrophe on the scale of a city block. The discrepancy between the data of the production department and the sales department indicates the absence of proper control over the circulation of hazardous materials. The leadership focused on the effectiveness of liquidations, ignoring inventory and storage norms. Grigory Mairanovsky was released in December 1961. He was forbidden to reside in Moscow and other major cities of the country. He moved to the Dagestan ASSR, where he worked in one of Makhachkala's medical institutions. His activities were limited by administrative constraints and constant surveillance by the KGB. Mayranovsky's death was recorded on December 13, 1964. The official cause was acute heart failure. Death occurred instantly in his office. The specific circumstances and the deceased's professional profile gave rise to the theory that his own methods were used against him. However, no documented evidence of external interference has been found. The dry summation of the activities of Laboratory X under Mayranovsky's leadership includes over 50 confirmed operations to eliminate individuals of interest to the country's leadership. The technical base of the unit formed the foundation of modern specialized toxicology centers. The statistics of losses among laboratory personnel due to occupational diseases amount to 12% of the total number of employees throughout its existence. The effectiveness of the methods developed by Mayranovsky is recognized as high from the perspective of concealing traces. The material and technical base of the parties, as a result of this unit's activities, saw significant development in the field of microchemistry and localized impact systems. The infrastructure in Varsonofevsky Lane was dismantled only in the late 80s. Until then, the facility continued to operate in a conservation mode. Research into archival funds shows that Mayranovsky's figure was a central link in the system of extrajudicial liquidations. His work was regulated not only by orders from the leadership, but also by the internal logic of the development of military chemical technologies of that time. Coordination between scientific developments and their practical application was achieved through rigid centralization of management. The influence of Laboratory X on the methods of covert warfare in the mid-20th century remains significant. All data on the chemical composition of the preparations used are still kept in archives under the highest classification of secrecy. This is due to their potential effectiveness even under modern technical control. A detailed analysis of Mayranovsky's logistical movements during the war years confirms his participation in inspections of frontline zones. He studied the possibility of using chemical agents against the enemy's high command. In October 1941, when the front was in direct proximity to Moscow, the laboratory received an order to prepare for the detonation of all poison stocks in case of a threat of the city's capture. Calculations show that the radius of destruction upon detonation of the accumulated volumes would have been 3 kilometers. This would have incapacitated a significant part of the civilian population in the center of the capital. This fact indicates the absence of a safe disposal plan under wartime conditions. The plan for evacuating biomaterials did not account for the road capacity under conditions of mass civilian flight. The sequence of events in Mayranovsky's life after his release demonstrates the system's attempt to distance itself from the executor of the most delicate tasks. The transfer of a specialist of such a level to a provincial institution is a method of technical isolation. KGB archival records from the 60s contain regular reports on Mayranovsky's contacts. Control was exercised by the local administration. The operational situation around him remained stable until his death. The final statistics of his activities remain incomplete due to the destruction of part of the journals in March 1953. Nevertheless, the reconstructed fragments allow for a complete picture of the functioning of the silent assassinations system. The military technical potential of Laboratory X was based on a combination of fundamental science and operational necessity. Priority was given to practical results, at the expense of theoretical justification. This is confirmed by the absence of Mayranovsky's publications in open print during his work in the organs. Each technical solution was tested in the field. An analysis of the laboratory's reserves as of 1949 shows the presence of a strategic stock of rare toxins totaling 15 kilograms. This volume was sufficient for conducting 1,000 individual incapacitation operations. The distribution of resources was controlled by the People's Commissariat apparatus, which excluded unauthorized use of the facility's capacities. Concluding the chronological reconstruction, it is necessary to note Mayranovsky's role in improving forensic examination methods. His developments allowed for the creation of methods for detecting traces of poisoning, which were subsequently used by law enforcement agencies to solve ordinary crimes. Thus, the activities of the secret laboratory had a side effect in the form of the development of toxicological chemistry. The impact on the material and technical base of the parties consisted in creating new standards for the protection and detection of dangerous substances. The overall assessment of Mayranovsky's effectiveness as the technical head of the special unit remains high within the framework of the tasks assigned to him. His fate is an example of the use of scientific potential in the interests of state security in conditions of rigid political confrontation.